Allie, thanks for joining us this morning.
Of course.
How are you?
Well, I've had better days with my computer.
Don't like when that.
Yeah, it's not my favorite piece of office equipment today.
We were just discussing how technology is only our friend when it works.
Yeah. Other than that, it's real awful.
Nikki may have gone through training, but
Well, since it's 11. Well, we like to get our Talent Tuesday session started on time. So it's 11 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our Tuesday Talent Series. Today we have Jessica Mathis with us here from the state, and she's going to present on Registered Apprenticeship, the Future of Work. This Tuesday Talent Series is brought to you by Plant Moran. Plant Moran is among the nation's largest accounting, tax, consulting, and wealth management firms and provides a full line of services to organizations in the following industries: manufacturing and distribution, financial services, service, healthcare, private equity, public sector, real estate, construction, and energy. Plant Moran has a staff of more than 3,300 professionals throughout the United States, with international office in Shanghai, China, Mumbai, India, Tokyo, Japan, and Monterrey, Mexico. In Colorado, Plant Moran has served its Colorado clients for more than 40 years, with offices in Broomfield, Denver, and Fort Collins. Plant Moran has been recognized by a number of organizations, including Fortune magazine, as one of the country's best places to work. For more information, visit plantmoran.com. So today's session, Registered Apprenticeship, the Future of Work, is being brought to us by Jessica Mathis. Jessica was born and raised in Southern Colorado. She moved to Greeley to attend the University of Northern Colorado and became a lifelong UNC Bear. Jessica obtained her bachelor's in exercise science with a minor in psychology and went on to achieve a master's degree in vocational rehabilitation counseling. Jessica began her career as a rehabilitation counselor at North Range Behavioral Health in Greeley, Colorado in 2014, and joined the state as a vocational rehabilitation counselor in 2016. Currently, Jessica is bringing her excitement for providing public services to businesses and organizations in Northern Colorado as an apprenticeship specialist for Apprenticeship Colorado. Additionally, Jessica serves as an adjunct professor at UNC, teaching in the Human Services Department, where she is able to contribute to the knowledge of tomorrow's workforce. With 9+ years experience in human services, it is safe to say that Jessica is passionate about providing services to Coloradans to ensure a diverse, inclusive, and stable workforce for generations to come. So exciting to have you with us here, Jessica. So I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you for having me. I always turn red as soon as you just start talking about me, But Allie, yeah, shout out to North Range. It's where I started my professional career and still a place I hold near and dear to my heart. So let's talk apprenticeship. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Yeah, thank you. Told me I didn't have permission to make you stop. So, all right, that should be mine. Can you see the Tuesday Talents? Is perfect. Thank you. So apprenticeships are the future of work. And today I am going to tell you why I believe that to be a fact and where we're going with it. So by the end of this, you will know the benefits of registered apprenticeship programs, who I am and who we are, where I come from in my position at the state and the agency as a whole. We're going to debunk some myths, and then we're going to explore some opportunities for the future. Q&A is on there, but Allie, that'll be all you time. You and Becky will just get to own that entire section. So who is Apprenticeship Colorado and what do we do? So the Apprenticeship Colorado is the state apprenticeship agency, and we became the state apprenticeship agency 7/1/2023. So we are only a few months into this title. And while I won't give a test at the end, we are under the Office of Future of Work, which is a division of the Department of Labor and Employment, all under the state of Colorado as a whole. But it is fun to try to say sometimes and see if I can get it out without tongue twisting myself. We have the responsibility for registering and overseeing apprenticeship programs. We provide technical assistance to current and prospective employers. And then we align this one is my favorite, we align the registered apprenticeship system with Colorado's workforce, education, and economic development priorities. We also have other duties as assigned in statute. Most of those lie outside my role, but they are housed in our agency. Our team is getting bigger by the day. So here is just a quick snapshot of our leadership team. We also have our access team, our organizational services team, our quality assurance team, and our program development team. And so often public facing and at different meetings with sponsors, with companies in the community, quality assurance, program development, and access will partner together. And we'll make sure we at least have representation across the three teams so that we can provide that technical assistance and offer the best support to organizations, sponsors, employers, all the different names and all the different parts of apprenticeship that we'll get into. So that's our team. So the program development team, what do we do? Which name is, in this case is pretty self-explanatory. We talk to existing and potential sponsors and all their partners in the community. To educate on what registered apprenticeship programs are, to decide if it's right for their organization, and then we assist in designing that high quality apprenticeship program. And when I'm assigned to that entity, we are regionally based, geographically located. So I have Northern Colorado, Larimer, Weld, Boulder, Morgan, Logan, Sedgwick, all the way out east. You're with me to the end. I get to be that support from day one, clear through registration and launch. And so I love that. I love that we get that personal connection and interaction, and that we get to customize that program to fit the needs of that organization. The quality assurance team has got my back every step of the way. So the specialist that is assigned to the same counties will partner. High quality, when we say it, we mean it. Every single program that we design and we approve for registration is high quality. And I couldn't do that without quality assurance, because they are staying up to date on statutes, on law, on rule, on federal regulations, all those pieces that can change at any given moment, that we want to make sure are reflected as we move through the process. Access team, just that. So it's great to design, develop, and register an apprenticeship program. And then if nobody can access it or nobody knows about it, we aren't getting very far. And so access team not only supports the apprenticeship program in advertising, in partnering with funding opportunities, they also support the apprentices as they enroll and move through registered programs. So what is the future of work? When I say that, I say, we're housed under the Office of the Future Work, and we really need that. That's huge. The future has a lot of changes coming, and some of those changes are now. And so when I say that, we think about it with this definition in mind, that it refers to the impact of globalization, technological advances, and when technology works, we love it, and when it doesn't, we hate it, changing demographics and market forces on the work and how we do it. And so we've seen the outcome of that leading to low wage work, to a digital divide, again, that access piece, workforce shortages, and increased workforce transitions, which means Colorado must develop future-ready workers with the lifelong learning mindset, with digital, human, and business skills. We need to create more viable pathways out of low-wage work. We need to tap into untapped talent pools, and we need to develop sustainable and strategic talent pipelines. And so that's what apprenticeships do. Apprenticeships develop future-ready workers. They create more viable pathways out of low-wage work, and those pathways are not just viable, they're transparent. They're right there on paper. That is out there. It is public record, public information. You know where you're going in that pathway from day one until the end of the apprenticeship. And tapping into untapped talent pools. So we often hear that called inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility. And so when we design our programs and when we promote our programs, we think about that. What community is that business in? What community is that apprenticeship program opportunity going to be? What does that look like? Are we designing it and are we launching it in a way that's going to make it accessible to that population, to that culture, to that all the details that matter in the community? And so we do that. We keep all of these priorities in mind. That quality, we want to expand it. I'm going to get into some slides here in a little bit that talks about kind of a snapshot of Colorado as a whole. We don't want this to be in one particular area. And though most people that watch this recording will be right here in the counties I cover, and I can say they're the best, I do also support all of my colleagues around the state in wanting their areas to be the best too, and make sure that we have that opportunity for as many Coloradoans as need it. We want that equity really embedded in the development process. So we focus on strategies. We now have a DEIA specialist. So we have that diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in apprenticeships. So 2 A's on that one. And so that we can make sure those underrepresented Coloradoans have that ability. And then innovation. Oftentimes, and I'll get into this as well, when you think apprenticeship, trades come to mind. And so making sure that we are going beyond that and really exploring all the options. So our team as a whole, across all the different teams that I showed on the slides, offer a variety of service. Again, program development. We're customizing that support for sponsors to build and expand a registered apprenticeship program. We send it through with quality assurance, and again, we partner, and we're making sure that there's compliance in every piece of that program, that it's high quality, that again, we're meeting all those different levels, federal, state, and local, that we're including diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, that again, that's embedded. We're not just saying it, it's right there in writing, transparent. And then we launch the program, and we don't leave anybody hanging at that step. Although that's the best step, that's now out there for the public. Let's start recruiting, let's start bringing people in. We're still here. You're still stuck with us. I love to tell sponsors, you're stuck with me as soon as you accept apprenticeship into your heart. And I think that's a good thing, because we want to be there for the success of the program long term, not just right now at the start of it. And we can also send out referrals to other partners to help with recruitment, to help with advertising, to help with funding opportunities at the apprentice level, not just the program level, and support those apprentices. We partner with the Division of Voc Rehab to make sure individuals with disabilities have access, are represented. And again, we're hearing their voices at the development phase, implementation, and beyond. And then funding opportunities. Money sometimes can take it from I think I can to I did. And so we partner with the workforce centers to make sure that they're the experts in funding opportunities. Don't even pretend to be on my best day. So I got my partner in Larimer County, in Wells County, in every county that I'm in, that I can connect that program or those apprentices directly to explore what funding opportunities are available. So now that you kind of know what we do, who we are and what we do, what is an apprenticeship? And so I want to dive in a little bit to Apprenticeship 101. This is going to be very high level, and on these slides, my contact information, my direct email, as well as our office email, is included in there. And
only payroll sees?
And I would love to, no worries. And I would love to meet one-on-one or in small groups or with your business to talk more. So let's get started on Apprenticeship 101. So again, I'm taking you to that definition, that basic understanding, to start getting that grasp. A registered apprenticeship is an industry vetted, nationally recognized training model, and it helps new and existing or incumbent workers with paid on-the-job learning and career advancement. And those are bold, those are highlighted, and those are underlined for very specific reasons, like industry vetted, right? This isn't going to be specific to or contained only with one employer. This occupation has been looked across the industry at the national level, and we make sure that the pieces of it, the training offered, the on-the-job learning offered, meet that industry standard. Again, another piece when we say high quality. The reason that we support apprenticeship programs, registered apprenticeship programs, and we say they are the future of work is because it is a nationally recognized training model, which means when that apprentice successfully completes their apprenticeship, they receive a nationally recognized credential that moves with them. And so think about that with young people. We're bringing in workforce, high school, college level. They may not stay in Northern Colorado forever, even if we would love for them to, or they might move around just like me, came up here for school, fell in love, got married. I'm still here 18 years later. And so knowing that that credential doesn't just a piece of paper once they leave that area or that occupation with that employer is great. And then the paid piece. I think about if I would have known if apprenticeships, what they were, and if they were available, like as I was entering college, I may not be paying off student debt still today because you're paid up front. You're an employee day one. You start making money that then is supporting you while you're seeking that education and that training and those on-the-job skills. And then career advancement. So we all know like it's fun to be where we are, and then we also go, but where can I go, or what are the opportunities ahead of me? And so knowing that this is an option and an opportunity for career advancement just sells it. And if you can't tell by now, I could talk apprenticeships all day, and I'm super passionate about it. So try to argue with me and tell me something's better. So the core components of a registered apprenticeship program, again, it's a paid job. Apprentices are employees, which means they're hired like every other employee. They receive the same benefits. They receive wages for the work they do while they're learning their skills and doing their on-the-job or their related instruction. On-the-job learning is just that, those hours spent on the job. Developing skilled workers through customized, structured learning in a work setting. Related instruction complements that. So that improves job-related skills through education in a classroom setting. And classroom is used very loosely. It is virtual, it is in person. It is at a college, it is at a technical school, university. It's right there in the employer's break room. It's anywhere and everywhere that a classroom setting could be obtained for the formal coursework or learning part of the apprenticeship. And then mentorship. So every single apprentice has a mentor, somebody they are assigned to, a one-on-one ratio. Like that one gives me goosebumps too. Like, and it doesn't have to be the same mentor through the entire apprenticeship program, but there's always one in that one-to-one ratio that is there to support that apprentice every day, every week, every month, every step of the way. And this mentor is somebody who is already a journey worker or a master. We hear a lot of different terms interchanged here, but it is somebody who is already proficient in that occupation, who knows the ins and outs and can pass their knowledge on to the apprentice and mentor them in their onboarding and throughout their apprenticeship. So that now that you know the core pieces, how does that translate to benefits for any of the parties involved? The top reasons employers start apprenticeship programs is it increases employee retention. If I'm meeting with an organization in the community and they're hesitant or they're like, why? Like, sell me, right? Like, why would I want to establish a registered apprenticeship program? Their ears will perk when I say increased employee retention, and then their eyes get really big when I say, and you see a reduction in workers' compensation costs. And so that's usually like my hook. Like, now I'm in, let's talk a little bit, because it's true. Employees that come on, that are brought on as apprentices, and that get to see, again, what's that company doing to support them? What's being offered? What are the expectations of me? And what's my career opportunity? We see an associated increased retention rate with that. The apprenticeship program creates a stable and reliable talent pipeline. Again, the employer created that entire program, that on-the-job learning, that training, related instruction for their company with their own goals in mind. And so every single person that's going through that, that's being trained, is being trained to work the way that they need them to be a successful employer and company. It builds a learning culture. So that one is cool. Think about your company. Think about that mentor. Think about that apprentice. Think about the entire company knowing what's going on. City of Loveland. They've had 2 occupations since before I was born, although they don't like it when I point that out. And they are adding, I think, 9 more occupations. They're expanding their program. And one of the feedback I've heard from them is that this, like, everybody's interested. The culture is changing because now you're like, oh, we have apprentices. Oh, anybody could stop me and ask me a question at any time. Would I want somebody to provide that answer? Would I want to be part of that learning culture? And so the whole dynamics are changing. And it provides leadership opportunities that supervisors or managers may have not even been aware that were there. When we get to the point in development that we talk about mentorship, I always encourage managers, go to your team and just ask if there's any interest in the room for somebody that would want to mentor an apprentice. Because you don't have to have a supervisor title. You don't have to have a manager title. And those individuals that are a part of the team that aren't official leaders, this will be their opportunity to raise their hand and be that leader within their current role. And so it gives them an opportunity to learn too. We do, as part of development, hold a criteria for the mentor or for related instruction providers. So if the mentor is going to be both, then again, high quality, we help support that mentor, if they're going to be an instructor, to go through some adult learning technique training, about 4 hours worth of it. And so they get an adult learner cert, and now they know all the different options for teaching adult learners right there on site. So that also is a professional development opportunity for those mentors. It enhances the skills of existing workers and plans for employee succession. Again, think about pathway. And incumbent workers, and I would say it with them in the room too, are the best ones to start with, right? Like, we got to start somewhere. You already have that relationship with that incumbent worker. They already know you. They already have that history there. So when you say, I want to try this, like, what would you think about doing this? We get the most raw feedback. We get the most honest feedback. And during that first year of apprenticeship launch of the program, it's a provisional year. And that's exactly why. So we want to send a couple people through, see if everything we put on paper that looks real pretty and nice and neat actually works as we're doing it, make any adjustments needed, and then we make that a permanent finalized program. And so having an incumbent worker be one of the first apprentices allows for that feedback, allows for that communication, allows for identifying areas to improve as we're in it. I apologize. I just had. Okay, can you all still hear me? Yeah? Okay. You can hear me okay? Registered apprenticeship programs also attract a wider and more diverse talent pool. And so I mentioned that it's a paid position, and I mentioned that there's an educational component, an instruction component. Think about how many individuals that are forced to choose working over education due to the monetary piece, due to the access piece, due to the cost of education. So we're now combining that into one opportunity, which allows people to not have to make the choice. And so that in itself diversifies the application pool. Often when I'm developing programs with employers, as we're thinking about what are the minimum qualifications, show me one of your position descriptions. I'll often see driver's license on there. And that'll be a great conversation to have. All right, tell me, do they have to have a driver's license, or do they have to have a legal ID and the ability to get to a job site? Because those are two different things. But when we think about ID, when we start associate, we just assume driver's license. It gets put on a paper. And now if I'm reading that as a job seeker and I don't have one, I'm immediately dismissing it. And so it's things like that, like really when we think about that DEIA, really paying attention to those words, really paying attention to what's put on paper. And again, how it may limit what you're trying to access and represent in your community. So the other side of that is the apprentices. And so when we think about career seekers, why would they want to join? What are the benefits of a registered apprenticeship program to them? And the top reasons that we hear back are that earn a paycheck while learning new skills. Again, earn while you learn model, work-based learning that's paid. They receive wage increases. So as they continue through an apprenticeship program, they're gaining skills every day, and their wage increases to reflect that. And there is a minimum of a start, an interim, and an end wage. And then depending on how long the program is, there could be more than that. But at minimum, they will move up 3 times from the time they start to the time they end the apprenticeship program. It's a new way to start down a career pathway in a variety of industries. So we also look at career transitioners. And so Division of Voc Rehab really brought this to highlight too. What about those individuals that have done something their entire life and then sustained an injury or a permanent disability, and now they don't know what to do? They can't return to that original occupation, but they don't want to be out of the workforce. Or they want to be able to be in the workforce while still benefiting from the benefits that they receive from disability. And so how do we really mold that? Well, that's exactly what apprenticeship does. Apprenticeship allows them to start down a new career pathway without, again, going back to college or having to stop, do education first. The mentorship is valuable. It's we hear this very consistently, that mentors are an amazing part of the program. And because it's a structured approach to training, because it is defined, and that right there on paper, we call them apprenticeship standards. Right there in the standards, exactly how it's going to progress, how it's going to build on each other. Again, the apprentice knows what to anticipate, what's coming, and then they know when to ask for an accommodation, or when they know when to ask for more support. Maybe math isn't their strong suit, and they see coming up on that form that they're going to be doing some math related to their manufacturing job. They can talk to their mentor, they can talk to their supervisor, get those supports lined up ahead of time, sets everybody up for success. And then I would like to ask this, did you know? Nearly 9 out of 10 apprentices, which the 9.5, I'll explain where the half of an apprentice goes here in a minute. Nearly 9 out of 10 apprentices are employed after completing their program. So again, an apprentice, the point of that is developing your talent pipeline, staying with your company, increasing retention, and continuing on as a full-time employee after their apprenticeship. However, what we see with the 0.1, anywhere from 0.5 to a 1 of the out of the 10, is the apprentice doesn't leave the occupation or leave the industry. They complete their program with another employer due to a move, family relocated, or again, where they got accepted to a school, military, stuff like that. So it's still a very high success rate overall. And then again, 9 out of 10 stay with that employer. And we're starting to get enough data longevity wise now to say that like apprentices are staying with that same employer up to 24 months post apprenticeship. And that, I think, again, speaks to that retention. If an apprenticeship is 1 year plus those 2, that's 3 years of retention. If an apprenticeship is 4 years plus 2 years, that's 6 years. And so I always like to ask employers too, like, what is your current retention rate? How long are you currently seeing employees stay? Is this an opportunity to, again, give current employees a career pathway and increase the retention while bringing in new and increasing the retention? Average starting salaries for apprentices after completing their program nationally, $77,000 a year. Again, how did I not know this existed, and where was this when I was coming into the workforce? Because this last bullet, apprentices who complete their program earn around $300,000 more over the course of their career than their peers that do not. So let's talk a little bit about myths, dispelling the myths, because I hear them all the time. I get asked it frequently. I know they're still out there. They typically come from the history of apprenticeship, and so it's just kind of breaking that myth down, busting down that barrier, because apprenticeships in 2023 are very different than, as my boss likes to say, my grandfather's apprenticeship. So here's some myths that we often hear and some facts that dispel them. An apprenticeship must be 4 years long. Again, thank you, trades. Thank you. Apprenticeships exist because of the trades. That's where they started. And every program I develop and help register, I have to go back and thank the history of that. And those are typically 4 years long. However, that does not apply to every single occupation. It could be as short as 1 year or 2,000 hours, all the way up to that 4-year, 8,000 hour program. And the same thing, thinking about trades, all apprenticeship sponsors and programs are union based. Again, thank you, unions. Thank you for all the work you've done. Thank you for bringing all the safety requirements and all the fair wage and everything that has come with unions. And again, with trades, I thank them for that. And it's not a have to for apprenticeship programs. Apprenticeships are offered in all industries and include union and non-union programs. And sometimes both in the same company. Kaiser is a great example of this. They have a union and they have employees that are not. So they have two apprenticeship programs, one for a union worker and one for a non-union worker, and gets to, again, diversify. Anybody could apply at that point, any of their employees. Apprenticeships are only for the construction industry. Again, this hits the trades one. And I thank construction very much for all the movement in apprenticeship programs. But there are over 1,200 occupations that are apprenticeable. The healthcare, advanced manufacturing, IT, education, business services. I think you'll see it on a slide if it made it in time. Just last week, I just registered an occupation right in Larimer County, horse walker, and it's with occupational therapy, and it's for peds, for kiddos. They get to come out and receive occupational therapy services with equine, and we have an opportunity for an apprenticeship too. Apprenticeship paperwork is extensive and difficult. I don't know that I would take extensive and say that as a myth, because we are thorough. When we build high quality programs, we have the associated paperwork to show that. And it's exactly why I exist. It's exactly why quality assurance exists. You have a specialist from each team that works with you directly to work through that paperwork. And then after, so again, how do you keep your records of your apprenticeship? How do you show the successful completion of apprentices? Where do those records go? Quality assurance is there forevermore to help with that paperwork. We hear from sponsors that once they're in it, once they have launched their program and they've really gotten through a couple rounds, that it takes about 10 minutes per apprentice per month for paperwork, which I think is pretty doable. And so, I mean, I know I spend 10 minutes at least a month, not a day, staring at my computer, wondering where to start. So I think we could find that 10 minutes too, to do it. Apprenticeships are only for entry-level positions. So you heard me say career pathways, career advancement. And so while we do see a lot of entry-level positions, especially when we're thinking about recruiting young people or upskilling existing employees, we see positions all the way, all different levels of employment, which then allows those existing employees to have a career pathway. We call it stackable apprenticeships too. We can do multiple in a company and they just move them on through. And then or you can attract a new talent pool to more advanced positions in the company. Again, apprentices earn a credential. They earn a nationally recognized credential in their occupation that travels with them because it's nationally recognized. And in addition to that, Front Range Community Ecology is the master in our area. If you haven't had a chance to even talk to them or work with anything that is their apprenticeship, they are busting out programs. I think they're up to 10, 11 occupations now. And so they do partner with employers, and then they talk to them. What do you need education wise? What certificate? What is DORA, for example, HVAC, plumbing? When we do think about those trains, what is required for the licensure? So then how do our classes meet those requirements? What classes would be required for your apprenticeship program? And then again, what funding is available to reduce that cost to apprentices? And so there are lots of programs that are connected with colleges and community colleges and universities and technical schools, and it doesn't have to be. Apprenticeships cost too much for employers. So again, I mentioned cost savings in that form of workers' compensation because safety is such a built-in intricate part of apprenticeships. We often see workers' comp claims go down. Overall, we're seeing a return on investment of about $1.50 for every dollar invested by the second year of employment by the apprentices. And We also see a great reduction in training, because again, when you increase retention, then you're lowering your cost of training. Of what does it cost you to advertise, interview, onboard, and train new employees every 6 months because somebody's leaving, and so we'll see those costs go way down as retention goes up. So where we are now, where are we now? Where are we going? So this is our snapshot in a moment. This is a September number. We haven't gotten October's yet for update, but currently in Colorado, we have over 6,000 active apprentices. We have over 500 active registered apprenticeship programs, and we have over 300 active sponsors. And I do get asked a lot, how come the sponsors and the programs don't align? Because you have to have a sponsor to have a registered apprenticeship program. Well, you can have a sponsor who's sponsoring 5, 6, 10, like I mentioned, Front Range. They're sponsoring 10 different programs. And so that's where those numbers start to have some discrepancy. And since we became the state apprenticeship agency 7/1 of this year, our office has registered 26 new programs, and which I'm proud to say 14 of them are mine and right here in Northern Colorado. But again, that's just because the rest of my team's not here to hear me brag about it. 50% of them are mine. And they're going to catch me, because our goal that we've set as an entire state is to have 100 new programs developed or expanded in this fiscal year. So 7/1 to 6/30 of 2024. And we are 26% there. So there's gonna be plenty of opportunity for everybody else too. But right now I do get a little bit of bragging rights. Looking at it by county. So we have programs across the state. We have several counties that don't have any programs. A lot of those counties are small population or small industry, employer opportunity. And so we are targeting counties that are missing too, but we do look at that. And this is in August 31st. So this one's almost 2 months behind now. But what's really cool about this is when you click on this map here, when you get the slide deck, and I'm gonna see, I already have it up. There we go. It's gonna take you to where you can interact too, so you can see exactly what's going on. And ooh, it'll do it for you too, apparently, without even doing anything. Okay, so you can go to Larimer County, you can go to Weld County, you can start diving in to see what the new and emerging industries are, in addition to the building and construction trades. Because again, it's where apprenticeships came from. We get it. And so we know that we're still seeing that construction and extraction, that installation, maintenance, and repair is up there. But we are seeing the new and emerging industries such as healthcare, installation, maintenance, and repair, production, computer and mathematical, healthcare. We're seeing them start to hold their own too, and we're seeing those numbers grow. And so we're pretty excited about all that. So please do explore and play when you get this slide. And then I'm going to go back to the slideshow. All right, did that transition back okay for everybody? Perfect. So these ones were the newly registered. This is what is happened since September 26th through October 23rd. So this is the most recent 30 days. And so look at the occupations. This is why I wanted to share this. Operations management, fire sprinkler installer, automotive, line maintainer, medical billing, pediatric medical assistant. And so like and throw plumber in there too, because we have to have those trades, and electrician. And yet we're seeing the occupations. Again, we said 1,200. That means we got a challenge, even if it's not an official goal on paper. We got 1,200 occupations we get to explore in Colorado and see what opportunities are there. Multi-employer programs. You just use 2 little asterisks. I think that's cool too. So one sponsor can partner with multiple employers. Again, Front Range is a great example of this. And so employers can hear about this opportunity, talk to them, and then join their program. They don't have to develop and register their own. They can sign on as an employer partner. Now that a program just expanded, more opportunity for apprentices, and they have the support of a sponsor that's not in their company. So one of the benefits of a multi-employer program. All right, we're coming to the end of this. So there will be some resources. I do want to make sure that the website's in there. Our apprenticeship directory, this is where we find all the active programs in Colorado. Every single one of them is put on the directory. You can sort it by occupation, by county, by name of the business if you know it. But that's just a fun one to get in there and play. If you all work with job seekers in your role, or again, or support a company in recruitment, this is a great place to go in and see what's available. That funding for apprenticeship expansion, as well as samples of registered apprenticeship program outlines, so that again, if you're considering an apprenticeship for yourself, you're supporting an employer building one, or a job seeker and entering one, you can go kind of look, what does it entail when you hear a specific occupation? Sign up for our newsletters. Every month we have That's a Wrap. And my boss, she gets kudos for that. She like patented it. She created that big exclamation mark after it. So shout out to Melissa English. That's a Wrap. The first week of the month comes out in a newsletter, and the fourth Thursday of the month is a virtual live webinar where we go over that topic. And so it takes all of everybody through a whole month of support. And so this month was quality assurance. Last month was mentorship. Again, sponsorship, employer. We just pick out a piece and we really dive in every month. We also record them and keep them posted so you can revisit previous ones if you sign up for the newsletter and get access to that drive as well. And then follow us on LinkedIn. November's coming up. We got apprenticeship month. We got apprenticeship week, national. We got all the different levels of apprenticeship. And so it's kind of fun to follow us on there and see exactly where we're going and what we're doing. Thank you. Here's my email as well as our general one. If you want to talk specifics to me, with me about a company in my area, Northern Colorado, great. If you have a general inquiry or you're referring somebody that's anywhere else in the state, that main email box will be the best bet because it gets sent directly to the appropriate party. It doesn't have to come through me. Sometimes it can be a week before I even notice I have an email because I've been out in the community so much. So that's why they're both on there. And then I'll come back to Q&A, but disclaimer, just knowing that again, everything I say is as factual as I know. And please, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not legal, I'm not financial expert, not giving you any, not telling you what to do. All right. I saw a couple chats come in. I didn't have, okay. Yeah. You do get the slides, Allie. Absolutely.
Good. I'm not always great at note taking and paying attention, so I appreciate that.
I'm not great at note taking even when I've been asked to be the note taker for people. So
100% struggle with
please,
that.
I will spell out the slides. Absolutely. Any other questions right now? And if you're trying to eat lunch or have your mouth full, I completely get it. Casual, this is great.
Jessica, this is Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, thanks so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it. Have you had anybody go through the program that is in the accounting field?
So that one I just, yes, we have one program, mine, Northern Colorado. Just saying. We get a little competitive on our team. Am I letting that show too much? Do I gotta like tone down that internal competitiveness? Yes, we do have Accountant's Cabin is the sponsor and the employer of the program, and it's for accounting specialist and bookkeeper. And so there's a new program registered this year, and so their first apprentices are currently going through it.
Okay.
But it is apprenticeable.
Okay, great. Well, I will definitely reach out to you for a one-on-one to find out more. I have an accounting, bookkeeping, payroll firm, as well as a brand new bookkeeping academy that just opened this year. So very interested in how the two of them could meld into the program.
Awesome. Please do, Becky, please do. Email me. Get on my calendar.
Thank you.
Since there's a lot of conversation about building out apprenticeships and career pathways, and we're talking about summer apprenticeships for kind of high school age students, and then we're also talking about re-engaging adult learners or experienced learners, are there specific oh, I'm so HRE. I don't even shouldn't ask this. Are there specific sort of age groups of people that you guys represent or partner or prefer that we hire versus or collaborate with versus, you know, kind of those high school, oh man, that hurt to ask that out loud. I'm sorry, but
No, and the thing is, like, we have to sometimes ask those questions because the point that you didn't ask that because you want to know how to discriminate. Like, that's not what you're
yeah,
trying to get out of me, right?
yeah,
You're asking
right.
like, how do we diversify? How do we be inclusive? And so I appreciate questions like that. What we do is, again, I mentioned it briefly, but it's a lot more than that. We look at what the population is in the immediate surrounding area of the company. And then we look at their workforce and say, is this representing like everything that's going on here? And we can target our communications to invite in to get access to underrepresented pieces of the population of that community. We also make the hiring process, so selections procedures is a piece of the standards. And it is step by step what happens. And the reason why we support the employer in writing that out step by step is so we can look at step by step and see if maybe some unconscious bias has come into play. Or again, how is that worded? It says driver's license, and yet nobody drives a vehicle. What is happening? There's no company vehicles, there's no insurance. Why do they have to have a driver's license? To try to tease out those maybe unintentional or barriers to accessing the diversity. Again, DVR supports individuals with disabilities. You have to have a disability to be eligible for DVR services. And we can totally work with employers to want to access that population because it's underrepresented in their workforce. Ali, also just this is a biased response because of my history working with North Range, but we think about individuals who may have been just as involved in the past too. And so we also have that conversation. How, again, what is it, the background check? Is it a full one? Is it trails only because they're working with kids? Is it really you need a motor vehicle record? We really dive into, again, how to be inclusive while keeping that safety piece, and then again legal piece for that high quality in mind, because we often see that too, the unintentional discrimination against individuals with justice involvement in their past. Again, and then I go, have you ever hired anybody that has, I have one of the ones that register on here. It was this big aha moment. He goes, oh wait, my current so-and-so has a DUI. We paid to have the breathalyzer installed in the car. And I'm like, then why does it say this, that you have to have, it was unintentional because they're absolutely diversifying in their hiring practices. But think about how many applicants they lost who didn't apply because they read it.
I would be interested, not to take away from obviously anyone else on the call, because I don't want to do that, but Laura could potentially be interested too. I don't know. For healthcare and for like community mental health in general, when we talk about apprenticeship programs, there are definitely the need and the growth and development for the business services side of things. But I think a lot of, our struggle comes in on the clinical side.
Yep.
And so have you guys thought about like what sort of apprenticeships could look like on a clinical side in a community setting?
Yep. And partnering with AIMS right now.
Okay.
As well as UC Health and Banner. So we're starting with behavioral health technician. So coming in very first, and that's pre-CAC 1. Like that's how entry level that one is. And we're going all the way through LAC, licensed addiction counselor, in one path. One of the programs I just registered ends in LPC. One of them ends in licensed social worker. That is upcoming too. So yes, we are, and we're trying to see where what we're finding with credentials with licensure for each credential is different, first of all.
Yeah.
And so kind of like, hey, Dora, you should probably kind of align some of that little work we're doing on the backside. And what we're trying to see is the difference too between inpatient settings, outpatient settings, 24/7, skilled, substance, detox, crisis, like even looking at what a CAC 1 can do every
Mhm.
environment is different. And so again, when we're building programs that have related instruction, so great, CAC 1 is CAC 1. But the on-the-job learning is so different. How do we get people exposed to those different settings to even know where their best fit is or where they want to work? But yes, it is highly on our radar. Laura, you came on camera. Nice to see your face. Were you gonna jump in on Allie's, or did you have a question too?
I wanted to, and I know this isn't, directly behavioral health, but I did want to put out there that at Summit Stone, with Front Range, we do an apprenticeship for medical assistants.
Awesome.
And it's been awesome. We have 2 right now. We're taking on 2 more in January. We want to keep the 2 right now. We hope they want to stay with us. So already
Perfect.
awesome there. And one of the things that's been really, really cool is that our amazing nursing supervisor, who is their one of their preceptors, she created a schedule for them that they spend X amount of weeks in inpatient, in outpatient, in detox, or withdrawal management. So they're really getting the full experience in behavioral health to figure out if it's right for them. So I'm a 2 thumbs up for apprenticeships. We are hoping to implement a new one, which I know you folks are still working on next summer if possible. So I would love to see more and more on the clinical side come out.
I love it. Then one, you have my contact now too. So as you're hearing those same conversations in the field and somebody says apprenticeship or it triggers you, like get them connected to me, because at the very least, let me go into the federal database, go into the state database, see if it's an apprenticeable occupation, and know if we should consider, keep putting our energy to development. At least let me check that first box. Because again, like I said, we have over 1,200 occupations. There are still occupations that are not currently apprenticeable for various reasons, but at least let me find out if it's a possibility, because then we can really start seeing where we want to go and what our goals are.
You will definitely hear from me. And I always anytime I can do a shout out to apprenticeships, in general, I like to come on camera, get off mute, and give that shout out, because we've just had, we started last summer, at Stone, and it's been nothing but great, and we're really excited about it and excited about growing it. So I always like to.
Can you believe you're already coming up on your year? Like, how fast does your provisional year go, right? Like, is it so exciting though? And yes, we hope apprentices stay with you.
Yes, thank you. Fingers crossed. We think they like us, so.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yep. And if Allie's on a call, I have to always come and say something, because she always calls me out to join the conversation, which I appreciate.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. We call that lifting up, right? Not calling out.
Oh, lifting up.
Pulling in and lifting up. Yep.
That sounds way better, Laura.
That does. I'll use that.
Thank you.
And this is being recorded, so she's gonna hold you to it. Like, I mean,
whoops.
it's fine.
Sorry, Yvonne.
Yvonne will go back and edit it to stop exactly at the moment that it needs to.
It's totally great. I was just gonna add, I heard a national speaker about AI, and like AI is only going to be as great as we all play, because we have to keep asking the questions to make AI smarter, right? And to keep whittling down. And it reminds me of the same as apprenticeship. So like Becky, like even if they didn't have it, you should start one, because that will then start the financial one, and it'll start the next ones that Allie and Laura do. And that's how we create this ecosystem. And I was lucky to go on with a contingent from Colorado to Switzerland. And my takeaway, once you hear about apprenticeships, you can't unhear about it, right? I mean, you have to do it. And once you've done some, you have to keep doing more, because they really, really, really do work. But to me, it's the most equitable place for people, whether you're a high school student, college student, or an adult, to get your training, because the barriers about what might affect your getting to education and getting to employment are taken away, because the apprenticeship levels that playing field for everyone. And that to me is the most exciting part of Colorado, really wrapping their arms around this registered apprenticeship, having an office not having people afraid they have to go to the federal government to register these, it's just super, super exciting. And my takeaway, Jessica, now I've got to know you better, is that we're lucky you're in Northern Colorado because you are kicking butt, and we want you in our part of the state for sure.
Thank you. I know Pueblo was like, can you? And I was like, because that's where I was born, right? And I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I know, because I'm like, no, these are. But yes, I am very excited to be here. I will go and argue with the federal government on anybody's behalf any day of the week. Like you said in my intro, like I still adjunct at UNC because I'm trying to hit both sides. Like even students that are already enrolled in college, did you know you could be learning and earning while you're in school to offset some of these costs? Like I feel like both systems can support each other so well instead of trying to compete with each other. And so I'm in a great role. And yeah, Weld County, Morgan County, Larimer County, Logan County, all the counties behind my name. Yeah, when we celebrate next year Apprenticeship Month, it's gonna be all about Northern Colorado.
That'll be awesome and amazing. So thank you so much for presenting today, Jessica. Your slides and information are so helpful, and your energy and enthusiasm will, I hope, spur some of us that are listening to this and who will listen to it in the future want to do apprenticeships for sure. So thank you again, and thank you for all your hard work. Next week's session is on Halloween, so we can all be in costume if we'd like to do that. It's with Jana Sanchez, who's an amazing speaker. If you've ever heard her speak, she is fantastic. The echo effect, harnessing listening intelligence to increase your reach, revenue, and impact. So sort of a different topic than registered apprenticeships as well. So if you haven't registered, just go ahead and do that. And I promise you today, the recording comes pretty quick, so I'll work hard to get the recording. And I think Jessica's already sent me the slides, so I'll get them out to you guys today. So thank you again for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Yvonne.
You.